Thank you for coming, sir. These people will appreciate your honesty, and this is an honest man, so he'll give us straight answers. He's not going to try to wiggle out of anything, no matter what we ask. But we would like you to begin from the beginning, any early history with your family. I don't know if you have an earliest memory of Baba.
I got.
You do?
Yes.
Okay, please tell us about that.
But it is something like, I can talk like playing with toys, and people want to hear something about the aura and the colors and the spiritual thing. There is no such thing with me. I can remember only when probably I must be 5 years old, and Baba was coming from in Nasik from Sarosh Motor Works in the sun. Probably it must be 4 o'clock or something like that. I must be 5 years old at that time. All that I remember is his footwear. They were of this design, and parents say, bow down. We don't know what is bow down. We bow down, but I remember that's footwears. Sometimes he used to come in the night at about 8 or 9 o'clock or something in Nasik, and there used to be a dog. And because now I remember I must be 5 years old, I must be a short person. And the dog was just like a bear, white, very white. That much, if you ask me, what did you remember? I remember these things. Later on, and when definitely it must be when I was 7 years old, Baba's birthday was there. Adi Kaka had come to our house. He took me to a restaurant, gave me some cakes, biscuit, chocolate, I don't know what it was. He took me to that where the mandap was going on. And I was sitting in the car only looking from the glass. Baba is walking in the, supervising that work of mandap. Then the birthday, Baba giving that bag, the flowers has been put, the garland, the big garland which his grooms are wearing, they was put on it. And above everything else, I remember the food of this 37th birthday of Baba's. We were told, Basaji cooks the food. And there was some tomato chutney or something like that. And it had the smell of burning wood. That is still in my nose, even today.
That's very popular nowadays.
That's all. So you asked me, I gave you.
Can you tell us what year you were born? What year you were born?
I was born in 1930. And when I was born, my father and Baba were away on some tour. When he came back, Baba said, has he been named? So my maternal uncle was then there. He said, yes, his name is given Jafar. Baba said, no Jafar, his name should be Ali. So I've been given the name Ali. That's all.
Can you tell us about what you observed from your father's and Dr. Gani's relationship?
I'll tell you. My father was fond of detective novels. And Dr. Gani and Ramjoo family they were staying in Lonavala. My father was doing some cloth business in those days. I mean, my grandfather also. And grandfather was looking after the shop. That is what is narrated to me because I was not born also at that time. And my father used to go around the town and sell what is that word? And he used to sell the cloth. But he was also fond of detective magazines or books, Sexton Blake, that was told. And probably Pune was the only city next to Lonavala. They might be going, because Dr. Gani was going to the college at Pune. He came to know that M.S. Irani, that is Meherabad, Baba, that is, he was also in this house, some detective magazines were there. So my father asked Dr. Gani, introduced me to him. Because he wanted to get those magazines, read it. And as we talk now in the NPR, we sit around kitchen, dining table or have tea. We make a group. So it became a group and they were in Pune like that. So that's it. You asked me for the relationship, I told you.
We know that
Uh,
Dr. Ghani had daughters, and you had many sons in your family.
yeah. That's a rivalry.
So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Indian people say, I got a son. Oh, daughter, why this daughter? I should have a son now. So that unconscious rivalry was also there. He had all the daughters and my father had all the sons.
Did you marry one of the
Yeah, I was.
daughters?
Yes.
And
I say, all right, carry on. No, question, you complete the question.
no, please go on.
Hey, this is a big story. Afterwards, I will tell you. Say, ask. I said, all right, anyway, I'll try to reconstruct it. My elder brother was also married to Dr. Ghani's daughter.
Which brother?
Abdullah. He was also married. But that was his arranged marriage. And mine was, I proposed to her. My cousin brother wanted to marry her. So I was in Bombay. At that time, I had no idea that I will be marrying this girl. And he asked me, shall I marry her? I said, if I were in your place, I would never ask that question. I will straightway get married. Then he said, go to your, because she is Dr. Ghani's daughter, no? So you go to father and ask him whether I can get married to her. So I went on his behalf to my father and asked him whether my cousin brother wants to marry this girl. He says, we'll see, because he was staying in Karachi in those days. After a few months, he said, no. And then I was transferred from Bombay to Pune. And I was working in Dapudi, 5 miles away from Pune. So on Sundays, the first shift stops at 6 o'clock in the morning. I used to come to city, have a cup of tea in Dr. Ghani's home. Dr. Ghani's brother's home, and where this was a combined family was staying. And she was working as a teacher, and coming from a distant Kolaba in Konkan place, Murud Janjira, she has come. I got down from the bus at 6:30 or so. She came down from railway station to this thing. And from that Kohinoor hotel to Babajan's tomb in Pune, it takes about 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes, I proposed to her. People think there might be romance or something like that, or something like that.
Right. Efficiency expert. Do you remember Baba's birthday celebration in Nasik,
yes.
1937?
37.
Please tell us about that.
No, that's all. I told you, smoke that in
That's
that tomato chutney, flowers, Baba giving out that white thing. So that's it.
The rest we have to look at the movie.
Which was the same thing here. What I described to you is the same as in the movie.
Your brother Dadu was the eldest.
Yes.
And he traveled with Baba a little bit.
Yeah.
Did he ever tell you about his travels?
But he was not impressed by all that thing. When you ask him, you had been to Portofino, like that.
That's it.
That's all.
I know he was interested in photography and filming.
Yeah.
And he took some films.
Right.
But they're lost at this point.
Lost, of course.
We don't know.
We don't know. No, even if you would have found it, probably those films get hard or something. They lose their illumination. What they call something like that. It must have been scrapped.
Speaking of films, we know you're a film buff. You like watching movies. Can you tell us about your younger days at Meherabad when Sarosh Cinema had one?
Arangav Talkies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Arangav Talkies.
I must be about 13, 14 years old. So my father's name is Abdul Karim. And in the school, my name was registered as Ali Abdul Karim, not Ali Ramjoo. So I used to write to Baba on a small white paper. In those days, 1 rupee note was newly printed and some white copies were brought by from the security. On that thing, I wrote on, Dear Baba, I'm very well, because our English was very poor. We were hardly knowing anything English. We used to see the Tarzan movies, Laurel Hardy and some Frankenstein. So our English was very simple. Dear Baba, I'm very well. I want to come. Very well, miss. I'm healthy. I want to come to Armco. I never wrote to him, I want to come to see movies. And trying to find out whether Baba knows me, whether he recognized me, that because my father was known as Ramjoo Abdullah, and very few people knew that my father's name is Abdul Karim. So I was testing Baba whether Baba recognized me or not. And instead of replying to me directly, I don't know how that. So I got this thing. Why Baba has communicated with my father, when I wrote, he must give me reply to me. So my father says, Baba has called you, you can go. But my purpose was to go and see the movies.
What about mangoes?
Huh?
Mangoes?
Mangoes. Baba was never here. When Baba was here, once he came there in the evening and he was distributing some. So I used to 2 or 3 small mangoes to each one. The moment I got it, I ran from that backside to the movie. I was least interested in any other thing.
You were living in Ahmednagar in the late 40s.
Yeah.
Do you remember when Bob announced the new life?
Yeah.
What was the impression you got, and what was the impression others had?
Let me recollect. No, I was not there probably. Yes, I was there. Repeat your question. What did you say?
Baba announced the new life in 1949. I'm wondering what your impression of that was when you heard that he was going to leave all the old life behind.
Not about the life, because we are not concerned what Baba is doing. We are concerned about what Father is doing, how things are moving around about Baba. We used to observe that. We are not going to find out why are you sitting and asking me these questions. All I can say is he was asking me questions and I replied to him. That's all, like that. So we observe what is going on. We are not finding out why it is and how it is and all that thing.
No, but we're interested in people's reaction, because he said he was going to leave them all behind.
Yeah, that I know. Arrangement walas, yes walas and no walas. And Pati Kaka said, I'm arrangement wala. He said, how is that? And Chagan Master asked him whether I should do. So he's been given punishment. Beg, and you have to beg. You are not to. And they have your food only by begging. That much I remember. And Chagan Master used to come to our house, and my father used to serve him outside the house, because it's giving alms to the person, no? And he'll sit there, and what do you call it? They will talk, but then he will go out, Chagan Master. This is how I observed what was the new life.
You must have had childhood friends. You had friends when you were a child?
Yeah, definitely.
What was their reaction when they knew you were from Meher Baba's family?
We were brought up because my father was asked by Baba to go and work in Sarosh Motor Works at Nasik, and I was born there in 1930. So first 5 years are minus, because I don't have got any memory of that. And I was given home tuitions, house tuition. I never went to school for the first 3 years or 4 years. And we were staying away from the city. In those days, the city was very small. Even the Agra road was a very dusty. It is not even a tar road. There were trees around it. And the people with whom we had an association was none but the Baba family's people. Who were they? Rustamji's Medlu and Fallu were probably in England or where, I don't know, but Behram was there, Nagu was there, Nehru was there. So with Nehru we used to play Sursurpana, they call it. They throw the stick below this thing and climb the tree. So with Nehru we played that thing. Nehru, Nagu and Behram. And and their mother, their grandmother, they were schooling in Bansi school at Devali. And she used to take us in the car. Why? Because she used to give them cake, biscuits, and we used to get it. So we used to enjoy that. On way back, Minu Varucha's the little city house was there. At that time I observed that his wife was observing silence. We never knew whether it is due to some biological something or whether Baba has given orders, and we never bothered to find out that. But we used to sit there because we are children, no? My grandmother, they were talking to him, then we come back to home. So my childhood was not with the local people, yes, but with Kharset, Parviz and Jaru. I mean, they were all this thing. But when my father put me in vernacular school, it was poor men, poor boys were there, Orthodox Muslims, and you are afraid, no? And it never bothered to us. We never told them what is Meher. We ourselves do not know what Meher Baba is. He was just Baba, that's all. So there was no question of confrontation was there at that time. But no. So, okay, carry on now.
You say you remember Daulat Mai.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us anything about her?
She was observing silence, that much I know. It was a big house. My mother and they were going and seeing the Sant Tukaram movie in Circle Cinema. I remember the Circle Cinema very well. Who were the cinema operators? One was Dattu Mendarge, one was Hari, and that's all. One thing I remember, in those days, Rustamji was alive. I think he disappeared in 1939. So I remember he had a racer car. We used to see from distance. We never probably, and he was fond of going on hunting tigers and leopards. And there was a movie in which he had worked, Perfect Man or something like that. And I got some still photograph which I given to for reproduction to Meherna's son-in-law, Meherna's brother-in-law, what is it? David Fensara. So I would like to collect it back now.
So Baba went on the new life. At that time, what were you doing?
I was schooling. 49, I was schooling.
And you finished when?
In 49, and I think there is something wrong with me. When I finished my schooling, my father took me to Baba with a 2 rupees garland. In my heart, what I say, why Baba requires a garland? So when I put him around his neck, I told him in my heart of heart, this is from my father's, not mine. I was very this thing.
Baba must have appreciated your honesty.
No, he didn't know. I mean, because Baba was just Baba, that's all. He was like a household member of the family, that's all. And he asked me, what are you going to do? I have seen in Armgaon when I was coming in the earlier days, Baba, whatever you say. I said, well, only he's asking you what you want. Ask for 1 lakh of rupees. So likewise I told him, I will do what I like. Then he said, what will you do? In those days there were no industries anywhere. There was that Bhaiya's studio photograph just opposite Mayor Nazar office now, Khusro quarters. I said, I'll sweep his studio, but I'll do what I like. Then after some pause, he tells my father, let him have rest. Let him have some rest. And after 1 month, he took me to Meherabad. By the time the Meherabad was opened or something like that. So Baba asked me first question, will you do the job which I will give you? We were, that way we had great reverence for Baba. Not that we had, but we had a great reverence. I mean, he was the eldest, the most respected, having some supernatural powers. So he said, yes, we will do it. As so many orders he had given, we used to carry out, no, not to eat meat, not to eat papaya, not to eat eggs. And I remember regarding these orders, when Baba is coming from this door, my elder brothers used to run away from the back door. Why? Because he will give some orders, not do this, do that. So I said, yes, that I will do it. Then he says, I wanted to get rid of my father also. So he says,
Can you repeat that again?
Huh?
I
wanted to be away from my father, I mean on my own. So Baba says, the job which I will give you, do it wholeheartedly and sincerely. That accepted, so that you will be helpful to your father. I said, bloody thing, he has tracked me to my father now. And then we got the job. Where? In Saroj. At that time my sister was married and my brother-in-law was my classmate or something like that. And there was no jobs in anywhere in the. He was given the job of cinema manager. Brother-in-law was given Garrison Cinema's manager, and I felt it. So I am fond of movies. Why I am being made a transport supervisor? He is given the bloody manager job. Then anyway, after a few months, Saroj had never entered his stores in his cabin. And one day it happened, the storekeeper went on leave 3 days, or he was sick or what, I don't know, and I was asked to go inside. I got the habit of blue pant, blue shirt, this book sheet like this. So whatever, I didn't know anything, but I arranged some tires in these 2 days. And it so happened, Saroj entered at 2 o'clock, he was to go to Bombay. His tire was punctured and he wanted to take out the tire. And he got the tire within few seconds. And then I was told that you are posted not transport supervisor but stores. As the job, his business was going down, Chevrolet cars, Vauxhall cars, Frigidaire, they were going back to America, shifting back. And probably, I do not know, his business must be going down. So he asked me once, and state transport had nearly sprung up. He asked me whether you would like to join it. I said yes. At that time, it did not occur to me that Baba it was just like a marriage between me and the Saroj. That you can't take divorce, you got to, the job which I will give you wholeheartedly and sincerely. But I feel not guilty now, because he asked me, I didn't go on my own. And so I joined, he made me join the state transport at Nasik, again back to Nasik.
Back to Nasik.
Back to Nasik.
How many years then did you live in Nasik?
In the state transport or in my earlier
when you were
from birth to till 1946. Then my father must have distributed the Saroj Motor Works to. He must have given share to Behram, Pallu, Mellu, probably to the Meru and Nagu also. And he came and started staying in Ahmednagar, and so we all came to Ahmednagar in 1946. And 1951, I went back to Nasik to join the state transport.
And then how many years were you there?
I was there hardly for less than a year.
Less than a year.
Probably 11 months or something. In those days, state transport was very limited. I mean, just Ahmednagar and Pune, first line. In Nasik, they have opened that thing, buses and all that. So they were to open Durga division. I never knew where is Durga also at that time. So they asked, we want somebody to go in the stores. So amongst all the clerks who were originally from Nasik or somewhere, they said there is no water, it's hot, very hot. I said, what kind of these people are? He said, nobody is going, I'll go. So I was transferred there. For about 3.5 years I stayed there. Then I came to Bombay.
Did you come to Meherabad at all in the 50s?
No, 50s, no?
55 Sahavas or...
Yeah, we don't remember now which is that, but I have attended 100%
All of them.
But we used to enjoy it.
Yes.
Baba is there, we just observe it, but we talk, go on talking, all that thing, that's all.
Do you recall if you were here in September 1954 when Baba gave the final declaration?
Yeah, not here, not Meherabad. I don't remember. I don't remember final declaration, but in 1954 I was in Bombay, that much I know, and I wouldn't have come because my salary was only 105 in those days. I came with the Bombay people, and now I don't remember who were those Bombay people. Because they took me, they said, come on, we'll go to. And there was Wadia Park.
Yes.
There's a 1954 Padi Kaka is there,
Yeah.
and my photograph is there.
Yeah.
I'm standing somewhere near Padi. Achha, there's one incident I would like to add. In those days, there was no Jai Baba then. When I wrote to, I'm talking about the Arungaon talkies in those days. So we were taught by our parents, when you come across Parsi members, family, Dada Chanji and all those people, you should say Sajji. Have you heard the name? Sajji. To the Hindus, Kale Mama, this thing, you say Namaste or something like that. There were no Muslims. So when I used to come to Arungaon, I'm going back in those days. So I did to so many, about 15, 16 people now. And I stopped it. Because how many other people I cannot go on wishing individually. Padikaka's bed was low bed in the corner. He told me in vernacular, तेरे बाप ने मुझसे सलाम करने को सिखाया क्या? Translate this. Who is going to translate? Has your father taught you how to wish the elderly people? That's what I shouted. Patikaka. From then onwards, I used to first find out where is Patikaka and then say Saji.
Now you mentioned there were no Muslims, but in the earlier years there were Muslims.
No, they were in Nasik, and by this time they never came. In my childhood I remember, but I never saw them except in the 37th birthday. I saw them from distance. Even the frame photos are there. I sometimes wonder, people don't know who are they. One amongst them in the photograph I recognize Noman Bhai is there, Kapadia is there, who was working in the security press. So I know those people, Sheikh and all that.
Yes.
But I was a child then.
Your uncle Abdullah Jafar was there.
No, Abdullah, yeah. We used to call him Papa. Papa means uncle.
Syed said.
Syed Saab, right, Syed Saab. In Pune, what is his name? One who read Garibo Ka Asra.
Munshi.
No, Munshi ji I've heard, but we have been Usman Saab or something like that.
Usman.
Khak Saab is there.
There were a few later.
Yeah, few later.
There were some, a handful. But
very handful.
we're wondering, as in the case of your family, where did all the descendants of those early disciples go? They just never came around.
As far as I remember, when I was in Ahmednagar, in Nasik, the moment Pakistan and India came into existence, 99% people went away to Pakistan. So naturally, the children have gone. So I've got no friends of my old-time friends. I don't have got anyone.
Guru Prasad memories? Guru Prasad. Did you spend much time there?
Yeah, I do. No, not much time. Not much time. And I'll tell you something. Baba always used to say, no letters to me, don't talk about me about domestic matters, not to come to him. So we never cared to. I said, but my father used to come from Satara, he was called there at times. And I found that there are certain boys means, of my age, they are going to bloody horse races and doing something, And they are called and giving, what kind of Baba is this? These people are there called at Guru Prasad and I am left out. So my father was sick, man, he was having asthma. He used to call me to give his medicines at 7 o'clock in the evening. Why? Because Baba, when already has gone, he was to follow, no? Not to see him means, even my son also, my son means me, should not see him, no? So he used to call me at 7 o'clock and within 5 minutes dispose me of giving me, reimbursing me the amount and said, go now. One day it so happened, as I was coming in the afternoon from camp, Western Cinema in those days to Bhausar and Ramakrishna were coming on bicycle. I was also on bicycle. They came from back. And Ramakrishna tells me, you come to Guru Prasad because he must have seen that I am somebody of Ramjoo. I don't know what made him say. He says, you come to Guru Prasad. In my heart of hearts, says, well, my father doesn't want me to come to Guru Prasad. And who is this fellow who is asking me to come to Guru Prasad? Anyway, I got the opportunity and I went to Guru Prasad. When my father saw me, why did you come? Why did you come? I said, Ramakrishna has called me. If Baba asks you, tell him I have not called you. But Ramakrishna has called me. So that was our relationship with father and Baba both. That was our relationship.
East-West gathering, you were there, I'm sure.
Yeah, East-West gathering, by the time I had become matured, I became a worker along with Bhausar, Ramakrishna. Meherji was our chairman. And there were many shop owners of the shops. We used to call them, because whenever we had no money, we used to charge, give me 10 rupees. We used to call them state means big shots. They were the members at that time. And by the time I had already become a worker. So in my heart of heart, what I feel is, I became a trustee, not because of Ramjoo, but because I became a good worker in the Pune Center. And I was given the job of selling the books. I mean, small table, people are coming, East-West gathering. We are not interested in seeing Baba also. We are interested in our work. So we used to stand, the range was there, we used to sleep there only. And what work we were doing? We were doing proofreading, going to the press, coming back, making these handbills, putting satranji. Satranji means carpet in the center. On birthdays, I get up at 3 o'clock, bring the milk, prepare the tea. Like that, we became a good worker. And I think Adi Kaka must have observed me. And that's why probably I must have been recommended by Adi Kaka to become a trustee. That's all. That's what I feel.
That's what you think it is.
Yeah.
When did you become a trustee?
After the death of my father.
Yes. Your father died in 1967.
67, huh? But then I also thought, what do I know of Baba? Why Ramakrishna is not made a trustee? Why they have made me? After all, Baba must be requiring some Muslim. It's like a symbol, no, on that Samadhi. He requires a symbol. So let it be a symbol.
Well, he had Oliver, he could have made Oliver.
Yeah.
He needed a practical man.
Who?
Baba needed a practical man. So you filled the post that your father
Yeah.
originally wanted
No,
to get original.
I don't want to get into the shoes of Baba or my father. I've been made. Why I'm made is not my concern.
But Baba was there, that much we can say.
Baba was there.
You're the last living trustee from that time when Baba was
Yeah.
still in the body.
Not only that, the trust meetings used to held at Meherabad also. And I was the junior most member at that time. So while passing, I saw Baba looking at me like this. That I remember.
So you attended meetings at Meherabad?
Yeah.
Can you tell us anything about that more?
नहीं, वो तो in vernacular it is said, छोटी मुंह बड़ी बात. Who are we? He just keeps silent, the junior most person. Because who were the trustees? Pendu Kaka, Papi Kaka, Adi, Nariman, Meherji. Who is me?
But you were much younger than all of them.
Much younger, yeah. And I used to work in state transport. And my duty was outer station. From Amravati I used to come, get down at that Naka, no, where one road goes to Aurangabad, the other goes to Mampuri. From there I used to come walking up to the meeting, but attend the meeting, that's all. Even today I say, looking at Janice, I can tell you, even today I say, I have come only to attend the meetings. I have got good sandwiches, biscuits and all good food, and go back, that's all. Of course, whatever I feel like talking, then I just tell them. Okay, this is what I feel. Beyond that I don't talk.
Baba dropped his body. What was the impact?
I had just finished through the division, stock verification. The work which was given for about 2 months, we have to do that job and return to Pune. And that morning, I left Dhulia in the morning, and I was nearing somewhere, Mannad or something, and I saw the vernacular in the newspapers, and some governor had died on the same day, Bombay's governor. His photos were prominent, and Meher Baba's photo was not given that prominence. And I do not know Devanagari script, that is Marathi script. But I could see something. Baba's photo is there, governor has passed away. Later on, that perception was created, something is, Baba is gone. I got down at Ahmednagar, took that steel trunk, and I came to Meherabad. And I saw that Baba has passed away, and people are there. And we know our center people. I saw Tejas Bhai, I remember, Pendu. But they were all busy, and we don't want to talk anything. I immediately came there. I went back to state bus stand, went back to Bombay, Pune, and I brought my child and my wife to Meherabad. And then we remained for 7 days. That's all. That much I remember.
Do you have any of the other old favorite characters that you have of the Mandali that you could tell us about?
I can tell you how we regard Baba. Baba's orders were there not to see at the hill. So we never used to look at the hill also. And not to touch, even men and boys also, not to touch. I'm talking about those Arangao cinema days. What is his name? Mike's father, Murli Khale. Murli Khale was a doctor, doctor under Padi Kaka. There was a dispensary here. We used to go and wrestle with each other. I mean, Baba's orders are not to touch, but we used to do wrestling. And even today, I don't feel guilty conscious about it. What I did was best. We did with an open heart and open mind. That's all.
Any other reminiscences? Anything you remember?
Reminiscences, remember, when I go to MPR now, see the breakfast I take. In those days, the chapatis, rotis were a big heap. Lala was the cook. And there was a kettle of tea. And you cannot leave more than half as a waste. If you take, you must eat at least half or a full chapati. And there was simple food. Now food, dal in the afternoon, morning breakfast, only tea and roti, that's all. Now we are getting VIP breakfast. And not only that, when I came back at home, we never washed our clothes. When I came to see those movies, I didn't tell anyone that I am seeing. They thought I am going to movies. So with Jangle Master was there. So he was a bazaar master. He used to go by Tanga. And I used to, once in a while I said I will go with him. So Pendu gives me pocket express. How much? 4 annas. Very small coin. 4 annas. And I used to hire a cycle, I was not knowing what is Ahmednagar. Go around, come back. That's the reminiscences.
Any other stories?
Stories are something about the, later on, about this book, not this book, the original Urdu book, that I can talk.
Yes, please.
Now, as I have narrated just now, we never knew what Baba is. Baba is just a family member having some supernatural powers or something. That's all, and we respect him. And whatever he says, we do it. We don't use that word, even obedience and surrender and all those. These are bombastic words. Whatever he says, we follow it. So, what I was driving at. And my father never taught me what is a Muslim and all that thing. Whatever the perception of being a Muslim is derived from those Orthodox Muslim boys where I was schooling. So bow down is a crime. Bow down to Baba is a crime. Besides God, you cannot shoot out anyone. So that thing is there, but we cannot speak to anyone. There is something wrong with our house. What is right, we do not know. And this persisted right up to the age of 22. I mean, you can say childhood, you don't know, but this persisted at 22, when God Speaks was kept in the Sabas. Along with that, there was the Urdu book, Daure Kalandari, this book. And let me have a pause now. No, I don't need water. What I say is I talk as if I'm talking to a solicitor. I have to pay 500 rupees for that. And there's a time limit here. So
you did this book. Can you show us?
No, not this book. That is a Urdu book. So Baba, the God Speaks was there. And he says, spread this book or something like that. I mean, we don't know, but just because we are coining our own words. Probably I may be wrong, my vocabulary may be poor. But Baba says, like that. So, and somebody told me, I was not knowing what is casual leave, what is earned leave, what is sick leave. And somebody told me, you got 2 months leave at your credit. Then I thought, why should I not sell this book? The Urdu book. I wrote to my father, I'm going to sell this book in 2 months in Bombay. I was staying in Bombay then. So my father said, you come to Satara, we'll do something, handbills, and then you can do it. My father never prompted me to do that. On my own, I did the thing. He only helped me to, he said, don't carry it on the head. Because we are stingy people. I still tell I'm a stingy or thrifty man. I said, who cares for me to see? I'm not a coolie or what. I brought that thing. But then I started selling that book. In 2 months, how many books did I sold? Only 7. What was the reaction? I'm going to the Muslim masses. Muslim is some individuals. What is this book? Meherabad. Who is he? He's an Irani, Marsi. We don't want to even open and read it. We are not interested in that. So then I thought, so likewise I went to, but I was a very, I told you, I'm a meticulous worker. I had drawn out the names of the poets, the mosques, the shrines, the newspapers, and I made a 2 months program. I took out the pass from, I was not knowing where is Santa Cruz also at that time. We took out the pass between Andheri and VT, combined pass and Churchgate to Andheri, and I made during this, but I gave away 12 copies as complimentary copies to the editors and this thing and that thing. And only one, I'd been to Kalyan to Professor Gorekar, and he accepted that book, it means only to write the review, and that review appeared in the Free Press Journal. So that much is there. But that book, when I read that book, it's all about the criticism of the Muslims, Orthodox Muslims. And the last 12 chapters, last 12 pages or something like that, about Meherabad. So Meherabad is in hardly 1 page. But actually, the true status of the Prophet, because Prophet got married to a widow, 40 years, she was 40 years. Then he married subsequently, and he lived like an ordinary man, only except that God speaks to him and he gives us that thing. But Baba has proved it that his status is of that God man. So it was a shock to me that Dr. Ghani and my father are looking upon Meherabad as God.
All those years you never realized that. All those years you never realized that.
No, man, this is shock means how can I realize means what? Even today I am not realized. If I were to realize, I would become Meherabad myself. So, in short, you have got reservations. How is it this? This is what we can, we don't doubt. But we have got our reservation. How is this? And then it occurred to me, then it become balancing, no? Okay, Dr. Ghani and this thing. And that book, when he justifies that Prophet Muhammad was also at the same status, it is, so I have become a Baba father, not because of Ramjoo Abdullah's son, but because of this book, this original Urdu book. And because of that, years recently, means how many years? Probably more than 50 years have passed, no? Now. I got it. And I had been to all the Muslim masters amongst them, newspaper editors and all that thing. So I found one thing. I have never worked for Baba. Whether I have made any Baba follower or not even a single one. And what did I gain? Nothing. But that made me, today I feel he has made me a scholar of Islam. Whether I have done service to Baba's work or not, that's a different thing. But he made me rich. I know. So I used to bring the Quran there. The picture, it so happened. There was a coincidence I forgot to tell you. Before starting this work, I was fond of movies. I was coming from Regal Cinema. And there was a Wheeler's book stall late at night. They were stop picking. There was a Quran. It was a good cover page on carpets and all that thing, a glorious Quran. I said, how much the price? Only 3 rupees. I said, come on, give me. I was staying in Kurla with illiterate people. Only one amongst them was a Muslim who was a little bit knowledge. And I started reading when I Quran. I said, what is this book? God is merciful, God is beneficial, God is merciful. Nothing in this book. But then when I started going to the public, whatever you read last night, you only say, when I had been to Meherabad, I saw the big frames. So likewise, I used to quote whatever I read from them. And they thought I'm a big scholar. And I realized that they know nothing. And so I became a real scholar, whether I've done or not. Now after 50, 60 years, then I felt I must translate this book because nobody knows Urdu now. So I made a kickstart. Kickstart in the sense, I approached many professors and this thing after my retirement. And they also did me same procedure. No, it's all right. We got no time. When once I went to Singapore, somebody told me in Delhi there is one man. So I thought I will get it free. Somebody will do a voluntary job for me to do that thing. He said, I'll charge 10,000 rupees. I phoned back to that Singapore wala, and he's charging me 10,000 rupees. He says, it's very cheap. Go ahead, paying 5,000 now and 5,000 later. Now, when I got married, I thought that Dr. Ghani's wife is spiritual and all that thing. There is nothing, women are women. If you ask her, we want to spend money. No, I don't have got any money. Don't spend money. But now, had she been alive today, she would have been proud and happy. This book has been seen the light of the day.
What year did he do this book? It was late 40s sometime, wasn't it?
And recently, in a couple of years.
That's published. But original manuscript is from?
It took 2.5 years. I gave those 5,000 rupees without the knowledge of my wife. That is as good as stolen my own money. I have stolen my own money. and sent that 5,000 first and on completion of that thing. When it came back, when the translated work came back, I did not like at all because it does not have that vocabulary or those words of God speaks and discourses and all that thing. It is a crude, Muslims have got that thing, they put their own Allah and all that thing. I said, no. But I could not start on my own. But because of that, I started writing my own now. I said, rewrite this. I could hardly, that did 16 long pages. And there was a space gathering over here. So I wanted to, because Muslims don't take, the moment they read Meherabad, they don't want to hold the book in their hands. So I got the idea and strategy. I wanted that Sufism reoriented should be put on at the bottom, not Meherabad. So that at least Sufism means Muslims. Then show me this. They have got regard now. So I wrote to the Sufism oriented, I want to use these words to be heard. And I gave them everything what I did in order to prove that I am a sincere man. And I never knew. And in return, what did I get? They got 2 paragraphs duly translated and they asked me, how do you like this? So I said, very good. And then they started sending me my installments, the books, which I used to change the words or the system of the sentences and then send back. And I don't know how to send SMS, I don't know what is internet. And I used to send it by post. And they used to send me by post. It took 2.5 years. I said, Baba, now enough now. And every time when you get the copy, you get some new words. No, this should be not like this, it should be like this. So then I said, I put a full stop now. Enough. Then they printed this copy and asked me, how many copies do you want? I said, 50. Now, how can I make other people spend for me? I said, 50 copies. So they sent me the 50 copies. So now I feel I should have asked for 500 copies. But so I didn't give it to even Sridhar also. I didn't give this copy even to Sridhar or to anyone, except whom? Heather, because she gave me those Mani's books. And I brought this book only to be given to, what is his name? Huh? No, John. No, I met him in the morning. Peter Booth. Because he's got the office book. I'll give him only if he gives me that, I'll give him this.
Those books you traded for are much bigger books. The books you traded for are much bigger books. You made a good deal.
No, I brought a Xerox copy. Because this book, I got a mission. I don't want to sell it. I don't want to make money over it. I have decided, Baba, Dr. Ghani, he said 1 cigarette in a day.
Right.
He put 12 cigarettes in to start. I do the same thing. He says, don't interfere in the politics, keep away from the politics. So I said, the best person is an ambassador, who is not a politician, though he may be a politician, but his job is given for the good. He lies. Lies means telling false for the sake of good of his country. And he is the best person to whom I should give this. So these 50 copies I have decided to give to the ambassadors of the Muslim countries. That's all. That's my mission now.
The book was written originally by Dr. Ghani.
No, I can't hear it properly.
She wants to know, is this from the original manuscript of Dr. Ghani in the late 40s?
Yes.
And Baba had asked him to write
No.
that, or he did of his own accord, and what was his motive for writing it?
He was writing the supplement of God Speak, of God. It wasn't at the time the supplement. It was material he was writing that was supposed to be part of the editing work for God Speaks originally. But then he died.
Would you ask him that question, because he told me something about it. Would you ask him
Okay.
that question, just why did Dr. Ghani write it?
So-
Who would he attend?
So Dr. Ghani was doing the work that Baba had asked him to do, that material about.
Yes, supplement of the God Speaks.
Yes. But it ended up being this in the end.
No, it has got nothing to do with this.
This is
This
an
he wrote in prior to 1946. We don't know when he
Yeah.
started, when he finished, when the book was given for printing.
Yes.
It was kept along with God Speaks for the first time in public.
Mm-hmm.
Why it was kept dormant, we do not know. It's probably for the same reason Pakistan and India had come into being.
Yes.
Thousands of people are being massacred on both sides of the country, and they should not aggravate them again. So probably, we don't know. I don't want to speculate.
Yes.
What's the name of this book?
The English translation that you've done.
This is it. Here, they want to see that book. The Age of Awakening.
That is translated. The original book doesn't say. The original book says only Daure Kalandari.
It's a message to the Muslim world.
That is also added by me.
Uncle, what is the Urdu name for it?
Urdu name?
Yes, the
No, Kalandar word is something like must. It cannot be translated age of, you can't say age of must. Kalandarin is something spiritual, divine, something like that. So best way was to substitute this word awakening. First I translated enlightenment, the age of enlightenment. So, but those people, they said they put this awakening. I said compromise.
Something. No word for it. Kalandar was a perfect master, Sufi master. Anything else you would like to tell us about the years since Baba dropped his body and the work with the trust has been going on?
No, I don't want to talk about the trust. Why? I feel, good thing, I'm talking about the trust now. Though I do not want to talk about it, I'm still talking. You know, the best example is Aga Baidul and Bariya Kaka. When Baba has asked them to go and find out must, nobody wants to bother about whether they are doing their work or not. Did you find out whether did it occur to you whether they are working properly or not, or they are whiling away their time? No. The work, once the work is entrusted to somebody, we don't bother into it. We don't interfere with that. So I feel it's none of the business of anyone except the trustees to whom the job is given to do what he tells you to do. I never give those trustees to anyone. It's because that we have to carry out what we have got to do with it. Other people have got to do with it. That's all.
Good
How
comment.
do you like that? The job is given to the 10 people. Let them do what they like.
Do you have any closing remarks?
Yeah.
Questions?
We want questions and answers.
How much time is left now?
We've gone for 1 hour, but
No, then I got to tell. I can tell. I can add something on my own.
okay. Let's see if anybody has any questions. Yes?
When you were at Meherabad during you would attend during the New Life, you said you were at Meherabad?
Not.
No, what was it? No, the trustee meetings at Meherabad?
Yeah.
What were your impressions of Baba and the topics during that time that you were observing?
No impression. Eat and be merry, that's all. Merji and Narima used to bring some good food from Bombay. Eat that. What impression is there?
I've seen
Attend the meeting. I have attended the meeting, that's all.
Okay. Any closing remarks?
I have a question.
Oh.
You said that Baba used to give orders. So was there any order that Baba gave you in particular which you found very difficult to follow?
Repeat it.
Any order that Baba gave you that you found very difficult to follow?
There is no problem for me. Whatever the difficulties are there, I have done in the way I did my best, and I am not worried whether they have been carried out 100% or not. One amongst them, I'll tell you. In those days, Himodrakshomart, he said, you take these 2 teaspoons before meal or after meal. That also I remember, forgotten. So for a long time, just like that Sahibji, how many people should I wish them? Likewise, I took it for a number of years. And then I said, I gave it up. Once Baba had come to our house. And then I asked him whether I should take that thing. So Baba asked me, are you taking it now? I said, no. Then why are you asking me? So whether it is right or wrong or right, I don't feel guilty conscious. I am what I am. I did not deliberately disobey him. I might have disobeyed him unconsciously, but I have not done consciously. That's much as I am satisfied with my own.
Any more questions? Yes.
Is the book available?
This book.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to get more copies from the Sufis.
No.
She wants the book, so we're
I know.
going to...
And I wonder whether they also got it. No, I'll give you photocopy if you want. I'll take out and send it to care of you.
I'll see if I can get the Sufis to get more for us.
Is the book in English or Persian?
This is English he's done. From the Urdu. Urdu is original.
I conclude about this. So this book proves that when Baba says, I have come not to teach but to awaken, he has literally done it in my case because my father never taught me religion. Meherabad didn't say that I am so and so. But this book has, and he not only that, he made my relationship with my father so nicely, and I am now at peace. So this book is really an awakener. That's all.
Ollie, you mentioned that you could make a copy. Is it possible you make a copy and leave it like here, and then other people can make copies? Would that be okay with you? The English version?
Let's see if we can get some copies
There's
first.
many of us that would like to
I have found just reading for the sake of reading doesn't help you. Reading for the sake of reading doesn't help anyone.
But what about reading for the sake of being really interested?
Yeah, I say.
We'll look into it.
Okay.
Nay, even the Sufis have what they are afraid of putting it in public. ISIS people know.
We'll change the name one more time.
It's already done. There is no Sufism over it.
Reorient. Here.
So, can he tell us what Suresh was like as a boss? How it was to work there?
How did you like working for Sarosh? How was he as a boss for you?
Nice, very nice. Used to, I treat him as as an example. I must also work like him, shout, work. Barber comes at 3 o'clock at night to go to Bombay, comes back by evening, attends the municipal, he's the president of that. And his wife used to come in the morning, whenever he used to go to Bombay, and she was the only lady who was driving car in those days. And she used to take the petrol out of her petrol pump. She passed a sarcastic remark against her own husband. Salana paisa mein gajwa nathi, paisa nathi, ne lakpati banna jai chhe. You got it?
Translate.
There is not a dime in his body, in his pocket, he wants to become a millionaire. And Baba's book is there, life at its best. So, I always say, I am going to live at my best. That's my slogan. I want to live at my best.
Ali, thank you for coming today,
Yeah.
speaking to us after so many years.
Right.
Thank you for living long,
Right.
living well.
Long means I must be healthy to give.
Yes.
Not long life, sickly life. Don't pray
No.
for that.
As you are. It's
As
very
you are.
nice. Thank you for coming.
Acha.